Python doesn't care about extra empty lines in your programs, just like most languages. In fact, it's common for developers to add extra empty lines, also known as whitespace, to their code in order to make it easier to read. You can think of it kind of like paragraphs in a book. Let's take a look at the 0305 begin file. You'll notice that it's pretty hard to read. Things are really squished together, and we even have a new function thrown in. You might find it especially challenging to figure out what this code is going to do, and that's totally understandable. Let's add a few blank lines so that it can be easier to read. We'll put a little bit of space here, some here after line number 5. Much easier to read. Although in movies, programmers are often depicted as just endlessly typing on the keyboard, we actually spend much more time reading and understanding code than we do writing it. It's important that we structure our code to make that as painless as possible. That's why we add whitespace. Let's go ahead and add some more whitespace between the different elements of our statements. So right here on line number 2, we're going to add some whitespace after name and right after this equal sign. We'll do the same thing again here on line number 5. Just adding more whitespace. It makes it easier to read. If we save this file and run the code, let's see what it does. Remember, you can right-click anywhere in the file and choose Run Python File in Terminal. It says, "Hi, what's your name?" Let's give it a name. And then when we hit enter, it says, "It's nice to meet you, Jill. Are you enjoying the course?" If we type yes, then it says, "That's good to hear." Hopefully you were able to pick up on what the input function does. It takes some input from the user and then it stores it in a variable. Just like you see here on line number 2. We get some input and then we store it in the variable name. We do the same thing here on line number 5, where we ask the user if they were enjoying the course. Then we store it in our variable, answer. You'll be seeing it again and again, so now you know what it does. Now let's add a bit more space. This time we're going to add space here on line number 7 after our answer variable. And once again after this equal sign. Let's go ahead and save it and make sure we get the same output. So we'll save our file, right-click anywhere, and choose Run Python File in Terminal. Once again, we can enter a name, hit enter, and enter yes for if we're enjoying the course. Okay, great. So we get the same output. Python just ignores this extra whitespace. However, there are certain circumstances where whitespace really matters to Python, and that's when it relates to its special keywords. If you recall, there are over 30 keywords that mean something special to the Python interpreter. Let's take a look here on line number 7. If is one of those keywords. If we delete the space between if and the answer variable, let's click Save and run this code. So we'll right-click once again and choose Run Python File in Terminal. Notice that we get a syntax error. That's because Python expects us to have a space after the if keyword. So let's go back and add a space once again after if. Don't worry if you don't understand all the ins and outs of the current code. Just keep in mind that most of the time, Python is very laid back about whitespace. In fact, you're encouraged to add it in wherever it helps to improve readability. But there are circumstances where Python takes whitespace very seriously, and your code will fail if you don't respect the rules. The good thing is that the more you practice, the more you follow the rules without even thinking.